Are you ready?
Hello, and welcome to the Whole House Podcast, where you can find home, health, and family all in one place. Our team is comprised of moms from different upbringings and backgrounds, and we each have different passions and giftings and strengths. We each represent a different room, and we all make up the whole house. So grab a cup of coffee and join our overly caffeinated ladies here for the Whole House Podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Whole House Podcast. Today it's Carly,
Kathleen,
and Amerey.
And to get started, we're going to talk about what book are you currently reading or have you finished most recently?
I am reading How to Switch on Your Brain by Dr. Caroline Leaf. I know, I'm a weirdo. I'm always reading
I don't have the
nonfiction.
brain power to actually read that book. Like, I just need, I need someone to switch on my brain.
For you.
But if you read the book, you can
finish
switch your
reading
brain.
the book and then you'll switch all our
I'll
brains.
switch all your brains on.
Please.
For us.
Figure that all out for us.
Okay.
I just finished rereading for probably literally the 50th time Pride and Prejudice.
I
It's
love
my
that book.
go-to
I've read it so
book.
many times.
Never
I've read it
all
over
my
and
life.
over and over again.
I can't read those.
I love it so
Can't
much.
do it. I've tried. I have a whole
love
set
them.
of them.
I love the language. I start talking like that.
That's what I was going to say. I've been reading that book, and then I watched a movie that was based like in that time period, and then I watched a movie, and then I watched a Hitchcock movie, and then I watched another movie that was placed in the 50s, and I'm like feeling all vintagey right now.
Right. And then you say things like, would you like to take a turn about the room?
Yeah. The chapel abuts the house.
Oh my gosh. I'm currently reading The Sacred Enneagram. And I'm just getting started. Not really. It's like a deeper. It's deeper than a primer about the Enneagram, so it's taking me a lot longer to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing I most recently finished. Oh, I didn't finish it. I've been reading still The Liturgy of the Ordinary and stuff like a couple of those books.
Well, you missed our whole Enneagram discussion. Was it last week?
Yeah.
When you were a little bit late, and we had that book out, and Alec was reading to us out of it and asking us all these questions about each other. You know, I think
was
that
late
mom is
because
for
my
you.
Kid was being a grump, and
That
he fell asleep at like 9 o'clock. Today we are going to talk about summer fun on a budget, which most of us are on a budget.
A small budget.
I was going to say, some super strict budget.
Even if your budget just means don't spend money.
Right. That's what we mean by budget.
Yeah. So let's just each take a turn and say what is your favorite thing that you've done, a low cost summer activity.
I think my favorite thing that I've done besides just swimming in our pool, because having a pool is amazing because you can have friends over and people can swim, and we have a swim day here once a week, and that saves everybody, my friends, the cost of going to a pool. And so that's like one of my favorite activities. But aside from that, I'd say going to the trail and doing nature hikes. One of the things I did when the kids were growing up was once a week we would go to the trail and we would load up on nature guides. And I think those are a great investment. They don't cost a lot. And the thing is, yes, you can look things on your phone, but kids love books.
Yeah.
And they love walking 20 feet and then stopping and picking a flower, and then you stop and you look things up in your nature guide. Of course, I got to be the carrier of the nature guides, which means I had to wear a backpack that weighed about 50 pounds.
Extra exercise.
That's right. That was my extra, what's that called when you put stuff?
Weight.
Yeah, there's a
backpack.
There's a name for it. I can't think of it. I don't have Gregory here to tell me. But that's probably one of my absolute favorite
sensory thing too, is to wear a weighted backpack.
Sensory for adults.
Sensory for adults.
The sensory activity is just being weighed down.
Sorry.
So That's probably one of my favorites still to this day.
Yeah.
I second the going to the trail, but I like going to state parks. I like doing that because they're free, and usually there is a playground. Thank you, Glenna. My child is feeding me while I'm talking. And just so much to see. But also, the girls and I just did this thing which has opened up just this whole new world to the little girls. And they've had so much fun with it. As we just saved a milk carton and made a bird feeder out of it and bought a cheap bag of bird seed, and we've had upwards of 20 different species of birds in our yard.
Wow.
And they just like love sitting there, and if we sit out on a blanket, the birds will still come. And so they've been liking that. And also last year I waited all summer to buy like a little kid pool. And I mean, I know my girls are really little, but I know older kids still like them because you can still play with different water activities. Yeah. So I waited all summer to buy a little kid pool, and at the end of the summer, like when they were bringing all the pumpkins and everything out, I got a bigger one on sale for $2.
Nice.
Awesome.
And so we just drag that thing out and fill it up every day, and sometimes we put dish soap in it, and they pretend to clean different bikes and things like that, and sometimes they just run and jump in it, and sometimes they do all different kinds of things. So those are cheap. Yeah. Those are my cheap things and I come and swim in my mom's pool.
Yeah. My thing, which is mostly Judah's thing, is that we have a water table.
Yeah.
We have one that he got as a birthday present when he turned 1. And then we have a second one that I got out of the trash. And that's the one we've been using out in the yard because it's getting muddy and stuff while we're digging holes around the house and stuff. But he likes for me to fill up the water table, and then he just like dumps it out 1 cup at a time to water the plants, air quotes. So it's just like filling up the water table, and then he dumps it out slowly.
Yeah.
That's his fun thing. And usually that's enough entertainment that I can sit on the porch and listen to music or try to read a book or something.
Yeah, those water tables are great. I just power washed ours.
Yeah.
Power washing everything.
Yeah.
Those are
power washing is another one of Mom's fun-free summer activity.
Fun-free summer activity.
That's funny.
Watching things.
Sorry, snake, but you wouldn't move.
Come over one day and all the trees won't have any bark because power washed on the tree.
Last year she power washed a hole through her foot.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean to do that one.
So those are just our favorites, but let's go ahead and just keep talking about things that we've done or things that you'd like to do.
Well, and I want to dispel that myth that you have to take this gargantuous vacation, and I think that social media and the media or commercials in general give us this idea that you've got to go to Disney World or you have to go to the beach
you just have to go away.
You have to go away in order to enjoy the summer because God forbid you do something at home. Yeah. And the thing is, we had just I wrote a blog post about the benefits of nature for children. And one of the things I think that is really great to do in the summer is to really take kids outside and let them inspect things. Like you were talking about the birds. Like kids need time to inspect nature. Yeah. And summer, they have more time to do that because you have less responsibility like school and those sorts of things. And sometimes that time, unfortunately, gets eaten up by sports, and I don't like that. I think that kids really need time just to go out there and, like, we had a scavenger hunt at Cooper's Rock, and Lucy's asking me, what's a clover look like? You know, they should know what a clover looks like, and so we found one, and what a squirrel looks like, what a red squirrel, what a black squirrel, what a robin, cardinal, all those sorts of things. You need that time just to go settle down in the moment and just inspect those things. So, and those are really good activities for kids to do. They're calming, and it's been proven. You can read the book Last Child in the Woods, that kids' depression and ADHD symptoms and ADD symptoms are lessened just by going outside and playing in nature. And I don't mean playing soccer or playing baseball. I mean just being in nature, playing in the woods and in the creek and just inspecting things.
I would
Right,
say,
Glenna?
I would say to look up or even ask around, look up all of the free things there are to do in your town or around your town, even if it's like a half an hour, an hour away. I mean, Fairmont, where we live, has a great splash park that's free.
And splash parks are pretty common now.
Yeah, they're
most
common now.
cities have one that's free to the public during the day.
And even if you're not a naturey person, look up different state parks and things like that, because there's one Swallow Falls or
my in-laws are taking Judah there tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's there's just a little, I mean, we're not near the coast or anything, but there's a little beach there. The kids can play in the sand, and you get to sit there and just watch the water and look up the free things to do. And lots of libraries do and some partner with parks and stuff like that and do free movie summer programs.
There's one in our area. I've gone with my sister before in Morgantown, where they'll show a kids movie at night and you sit on the bleachers and you take your blankets. Do they do it in Fairmont now too? That's cool. I like that. That was really fun to do. And
just
what else have we gone there?
Look up your local library.
The fireworks.
The fireworks.
There's all kinds of things there.
And our town does a thing called First Fridays too, where they usually have a band downtown on Fridays, the first Friday of every month. And there's always vendors and stuff set up. You can go somewhere local to get dinner, but you don't have to. You can always eat at home and then just go dance on the square.
Right, and our family is very, very famous for taking food everywhere we go because it's just become our habit. When you have 7 kids,
or food allergies,
right, or celiac disease, it's really difficult when you're trying to plan a day out and you're thinking, okay, well, I can go to that restaurant or those vendors, but that's $150 that I don't have to spend on food that my kids are probably going to be too hot to eat and they're not going to want to eat. So we're very famous for just taking food wherever we go, and that's fine.
And kids think picnics are way more fun than you do.
They would much rather do a picnic than sit in a restaurant.
Exactly. Right. And even if they run around half the time and only eat half the food, it's okay. They're enjoying the time.
So something else Amerey mentioned, that the libraries will do local movies at a park or something. They also, I've mentioned before that we do a toddler time class at the library, and they usually stop during the summer, but they do a special summer reading program. So it's a month long. We meet once a week, and there's usually a field trip involved. But that's just it's all available to you.
Right.
Which, our local library levy passed, so our library can stay in business. But, I mean, we contribute a couple snacks per semester, and it's worth it to me to buy 25 kids a snack for us to go have entertainment once a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, I know this isn't attainable for everyone, but marry into a family with a pool. It worked out for me. I didn't have a pool growing up, or anyone close to me with a pool, so it's really nice to be able to come over here and swim.
Yeah, my kids are fortunate that pretty much everywhere we lived except one house, and that was only 1 year.
It was awful.
We've always had a pool. It was.
There wasn't even a pool that we attended.
Well, we went to a pool one day.
I don't remember that.
And it was $50 for me to get all my kids in for one day.
Growing up, I didn't even go to the public pool because it was just too much.
Yeah.
Well, when my parents worked, I was at a babysitter with either my grandpa or other kids, and they weren't going to.
It's just weird. I can't imagine just not having access to a pool growing up. I mean, that was our summer thing when I was growing up too. Was we, my stepfather was military, and so we had a schedule during the summer. We got up at 8 and we worked until 12, whatever we were doing, weeding the garden or, we were fixing up a farmhouse. But after lunch, we got to go swimming.
Yeah. I remember
every day.
Helping my grandparents in the garden growing up. I really loved doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there are lots of other, even if there are lots of other things that you can do, even if you don't have a pool. Like, let your kids get out finger paint, which is super cheap to get at the store, and paint like a canvas or even just a big piece of paper or a little piece of paper, and then do it outside, and then after they're done, let them squirt each other off with the hose.
Right. we had squirt gun battles, remember? Even when you guys were teens, we would just get out the squirt guns and chase each other around. And another thing is, when I just had one child, we lived in a neighborhood where we had a play group, and we met once a week, and each of us took turns at our houses, and we would provide the snack for all the other moms and kids that came. And we would just take I have these giant orange construction cones. Somebody else may have owned those, but I mean, I eventually got some, and we would just block off the street, and our kids would ride bikes and scooters and whatever, and I continued that practice even after we moved over to another neighborhood, and I had 7 kids. I would just get those big cones out and block off the road, and we would rollerblade and ride bikes and have squirt gun battles, because those are the things that you connect with your children with. Those are the things they're going to remember, and it doesn't have to be. And I'm not saying that going to an amusement park is a bad thing. We've done that before too when we could, especially when it was paid for by my husband's business. But at the same time, sometimes those days are miserable because you're hot and you're standing in line and your kids are cranky and tired and hungry. And there's so many things that you could do at home in your own yard, no matter how big your yard is. You can do those things at home.
Something unique, just because we don't have the budget to go, say, to the beach every summer or anything like that. We go camping, and this has been my husband's family has done this there for his entire life, so 30 years. We go camping at a music festival, and a way to make it more affordable is that most of our family volunteers. So they'll do like a shift. They'll do like a shift directing traffic.
Right.
Or now my husband and his brothers have a music podcast, and so they volunteer helping schedule artist interviews and stuff like that, so they get a reduced
That's
rate
awesome.
to go. So that's like our big vacation is to go and volunteer at a music festival and camp. But
we know that about that side of the family, because God forbid you suggest that you do something on Creation Week, because you can't.
Well, unfortunately, Judah's birthday coincides. I can never have Judah's birthday on the Sunday closest, because my father-in-law leaves on Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to say they were all freaking out when you found out when you were due.
Oh yeah. Well, Judah was born the Sunday that they were supposed to leave to go on their camping trip, and they were like packed and on their way. And I called them on the way to the hospital. I was like, "You should not leave yet, because I'm in labor." So they stayed, and then they drove in the evening to go.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
That's all I had in mind for. But if you have different things that you and your family are used to doing, low budget summer fun, you should let us know. Like, send us an email or comment on our
and
social media pages.
One of the things that I would say is don't feel like you're failing because you're doing the same thing over and over each week. Because kids like that kind of stuff.
They love schedule.
They love knowing, every week I'm going to get to go and play on the beach and the lake, or we're always going to go, we're going to keep going to Cooper's Rock, and I'm going to keep learning like what this trail is or what this trail is, because they just like the same thing. You don't have to feel like every week you have to be doing something new and different, especially with younger kids. I mean, with older kids, it might be a little bit more different, but
what you were talking about, Cooper's Rock, I'll just say how that progresses as your kids get older. We've always gone to Cooper's Rock because it's about 40 minutes away from here, and so what it grew into was, first it was the kids just getting to Rock City and kind of climbing around a little bit, but by the time my kids were teens, they were taking the rappelling equipment out there and rappelling on rocks while I stood there and bit my tongue because I didn't want to say, oh my gosh, you're gonna no. And so it progresses, and the trails progress to us getting bikes, and like my youngest, we would take him a lot and ride our bikes on the trail, and he would make it a couple miles. But it progresses as they get older, and then they will, like Amerey said, they get used to doing those things, and then they will ask if you try to just kind of peter it out and say, well, we don't need it. Then, it's Friday. Why aren't we going to the trail? Or it's this. Why aren't we doing this?
Judah's almost 3, and he already feels that way about the library. Like, Tuesdays are his library day.
Right.
Also, one more thing is lots of even large city zoos or even small city zoos or things like that. They have usually a day or two every summer that's either free or very low,
or your zoo is just free. Like, the DC Zoo is free.
Right.
The Madison Zoo is
but
free.
everything in DC is free. So if you live in DC, then you shouldn't be listening to this. Just go and do something. But, there's lots of zoos that are free. But if you do have a zoo that charges money, just get on their, like, probably their Facebook pages where they would announce it or something like that, and be following them. Because they usually have days where, like, it's a $2 admission today, or it's a...
Right, or even look into the yearly fee, because I would always just buy the pass, because it was cheaper for me to buy the family pass for the whole year than it was to pay for my kids to get in one time. And it was the same with, there was a little toy museum right down the road from us when we lived in Wheeling, and it was like $50 for a family pass for the whole year, and you could take guests with you. And we definitely wore that pass out. We were there constantly.
But if, like I said, if you have any other ideas for summer fun, you should let us know, and we're glad you could join us today. See you later at the Whole House. We're so glad you could join us here for the Whole House podcast. Please subscribe, and if you give us a review, we might pick our favorite and send you a prize. Please remember to like the Whole House Facebook page and follow us on Instagram at _whole_house. And please sign up with your email on our website, thewholehouse.org, to be notified when new things are happening here at the Whole House. Thanks so much for listening.